So today, guys, I kind of want to just let you guys know that there are some just back-end improvements. Let me share my screen. If you guys can share can look at the screen. It's more of just more speed improvement and back improvements for quality of life for those that are uploading your transactions. Now that we're getting more aggressive and adding all the documents you guys are submitting left and right. I think there was like 8 that was ran for compliance earlier this week, or I think even like just a few yesterday. So I really want to just focus more on that, so that way you guys aren't. How do I describe it? Like, I get it. We're in a hurry. And we're like, we got how many days to run for compliance? The last thing I want to do is freak out anybody because they're like, I still kind of don't know how to do it. So I'm going to go over what that looks like from start to finish again until we feel ultra comfortable with it. The faster it is, the faster I think we learn it. So we're just going to go get right on to it. So for those that are, let's pretend you've already been working the transaction. Let's say it was in Suite Assist originally and it's not in OLS yet. The quickest way to do it for compliance purpose, quickly adding it. If you guys already played with it, quickly add it, whether it's a listing or buyer, right? Although when we're trying to get paid and it's time to move forward on it, you guys are going to go to the smart intake. And what you're going to notice is it's a little bit different than last time. Last time, it was this little guy, like you click here, and to be quite honest, I heard it. Nobody knew what the heck was going on, regardless of how many times I went over it with the step-by-step. So I oversimplified it in a sense of just drop your packet and you're going to see how it goes moving forward. So it's still going to be very familiar process, except literally it's straightforward in a sense of we're going to drop our packet. And in this case, I'm going to drop one packet with all of my compliance documents, right? We're going to drop it in there, and then everything's going to dim out on purpose so that we just know where to put our focus at. This was a purchase. What kind of status was this? This is option pending. Actually, I waited so long to upload it, it's now pending. This was a single family, and then put the sources where this source came from. This was a referral. And then at that point, we're just going to click the analyze packet. While this is working, this should take no more than 2 minutes. I've tried it with 100 pages. I've tried it with 200. It should take no more than 2 to 3 minutes tops. Let's go ahead and add our role. We're going to add, I'm the buyer agent in this case. We're going to add the buyers, which is Chris Stratton. And then we're working on the other buyer, which is not the landlord. We're going to add buyer. And we're going to add Debbie in there as well. So I know a lot of you guys have been, it's been taking a while to load some of the contacts. I've been working on that. I'm still trying to work on the people that have their FUB synced. When there's over, I think 100-something thousand to look over, it does get a little bit tricky. Just be patient. It takes at least 5 to 10 seconds for it to load. But as you can see, it's been less than a minute. You'll see how quick this will go through. So I'm just going to, in the meantime, we're going to add everybody else. We're going to add the buyer. We're going to add the loan officer in this case. And I'm just going to put somebody just for the sake of this demo, right? We're going to put Ben Hope as the lender, the loan officer. And then obviously we have an escrow officer that's processing title. We're going to go ahead and add them, whoever they might be. Let's see. Let's put Susan as the escrow. And then by the time you add everybody, notice how this thing, it took a minute and some change to split all the documents for you and label it for compliance ahead of time. Notice how it already extracted 1 to 4, your compensation, etc., and so on. Penelope, are you in this call? Yeah, you are. So I just honestly, between you and I, not even between you and I, that analogy that I was telling you, that it's an assistant and that you don't trust and you're kind of just verifying it, that's essentially what I want to tell everybody. That's the best way I've described it to Penelope yesterday was, imagine you just hired on an assistant. You trust it to split the documents. You trust it to add all the people, all the tedious work that we don't want to do, but we don't quite trust it yet as far as, because it's their first day on the job. We don't trust it quite yet for them to submit it for compliance right off the bat. So that's where we come in and we just review it. We're reviewing these contracts. Did you split the documents as I instructed you to? Okay, that's the 1 to 4. Right? Did you get the executed contracts? Yep. Okay. Is that the compensation agreements? Okay. Is it all signed? Yada, yada, yada. You're going to do the same thing as if it's a real person. You're verifying their work.
You have to inspect what you expect.
Exactly. That's the best phrase, right? Inspect what you expect. I know I repeat myself all the time. Do we want it to eventually do our job? Absolutely. That is exciting and it's also scary at the same time. But right now we are kind of in those crossroads where it's doing a lot of the monotonous work that honestly we shouldn't have been doing to begin with, right? I was telling Penelope, you sell real estate, you go ahead and continue doing, you continue building relationship, let it do the things for you. So notice this one took about 2.5 minutes to split everything. You're going to see different colors. And when you hover over these are your instructions. It's going to tell you, hey, this is yellow for this reason. Yellow means the AI suggested the document type, but I just need you to verify it. So in hindsight, right, like it's an assistant, the assistant saying, I think this is what it's called. Can you confirm that? And you're going to do this for every single one. There's going to be some of us that are power users that says, I trust it. And I'm just going to say select all. And I marked it all reviewed. And all those are going to turn from either yellow, red to green, which means you reviewed it and you categorized it. In this sense, you shouldn't be, because from a compliance standpoint, you want to make sure that when you categorize them, they're not uncategorized, right? So let's pretend it did get it wrong on some of them. If you guys need to merge, it's just a matter of selecting them and merging the two. Or let's say it's the wrong document and it's actually multiple. You would split it using the split feature right here. And at this point, let's just say pages 1 through 6 was the actual 1 to 4. We would click pages 1 to 6 and it would split it. And then let's say this was the third-party financing onwards. Third-party financing, and then it splits it accordingly. None of this whole what page is it in, how many documents like in dot loop that you guys probably are used to. You're like wondering, yeah, that's cool, but how do I split it? So in that point, you're just going to review everything, right? Once everything's green, it means it's a go. Make sure everybody is involved, is added, and then we're going to click next section. Typically, I'm going to remove somebody here for the sake of this demo. Let's remove the escrow officer. If the escrow officer is not detected, notice how it gives you a little bump and a little hint and saying, hey, looks like you didn't add the escrow officer. Do you want to go ahead and add that? And at that point, yeah, you should be adding everybody involved, right? So let's pretend either I'm just going to ignore it or there truly is no escrow. Now it's a matter of verifying everything else. Here is one of the biggest updates for checking our work. You're going to see everything here. Before, you guys used to see just the confidence score that the AI felt, and now it's actually verifying the work. So when you see this little eyeball, you're going to click on it, and it's telling you what page in the document that it pulled the details from, so that we're verifying it. All right, is 353? Cool. Earnest money correct? Let's look at it. 3375. Oh, there it is on page 2. It takes away the whole you having a scroll, because I caught myself using this, and I'm like, if I'm going to verify, how fast can I verify it without having to scroll through the whole document? And you're just going to go through the whole thing, right? Compensation between brokers. Say, here's one thing, lease amount. 0. It was it wasn't confident with the score. And quite honestly, I forgot about this file. This was also 0. So that did get it correct. I don't think it was necessary. And then let's see what these other financial types might be. That's deposit. And there's going to be a lot of extras that you guys are going to notice that it's pulling, but it's not necessary anymore. At that point, just go ahead and just remove it. Once we verify that, we're going to go to the next section. And then now we're going on to these dates. It's going to tell you, good morning. You're going to verify it again. It's going to tell you if it's a duplicate and whatnot. And if it is, remove it. Or if it's not necessary, remove it. Right? The AI is trying to be as helpful as possible in saying, I'm going to pull out as much information as possible for you. You tell me what information you need, right? See how it says duplicate, and I'm working on making sure that it's no longer doing that. But from that standpoint, it's looking for executed documents. And as you can see, we're going to clear all that, and we're going to go on to the next section. And I'm pretty sure these are also duplicates. So we're going to go ahead and just remove the duplicates. And then the goal is to have no review. As you guys noticed, there was a lot to review in that top right. Once we're ready to go, we're going to be in this review process. You guys have, this is familiar territory. Again, this is what everybody sees whenever you guys are creating a transaction. It's verifying all the documents. It's even, this is one thing I added, it's even verifying how many pages each document has, so that way you can familiarize yourself. Did it get it right? We all know there's 11 or sometimes 12. Is it pages for the 1 to 4? And just look over it, right? Look over the details, check your work. And in a matter of, it took us less than a few minutes to complete that from extraction to finish. And then now we're gonna go over what that looks like when we're doing actual compliance. You're just gonna create the transaction. If you really haven't created it, give it a second, it'll take you to the details page. Once we're here, this is what it looks like. Everybody's familiar with it. If you haven't, this is what your transaction details page looks like. You're gonna have your timeline, and I like to use a lot of space, so I like to collapse that. People don't know you can collapse it, so I made it clear, and you can say hide. Doesn't really matter where you click, it will hide it. Your left side are gonna be your property details, and then your as far as your financials, and then your miscellaneous stuff that the AI extracted on your behalf. Unsure, I think Amy was in this call. From a TC standpoint, I know we like to know all about the key deadlines and everything else. This is streamlining it in a matter of minutes without having to manually input everything. If you guys need more space, you can always collapse this, and then you're gonna see all of your tasks. If you have any task here, your leads, and then if this was a lease, you would see your lease application, showing requests, all that good details. And then your calendar, when you click on it, would pop up. I'm going to briefly go over this because I want to show you guys what it looks like from the compliance standpoint. So fast forward, we're ready to get this for compliance. If we're already familiar with .loop, and .loop, all you see, when you enter it, all you see is your documents, your list of documents, and you see your folders, right? In this case, I try to rip off and duplicate the same exact thing. Your inbox folder is going to have everything you upload. Everything you uploaded from the contract earlier, the extraction, and quite frankly, anything that you might add in the future, whether it's an amendment or whatnot. Once we're ready, right, we're going to click add on the top of the nav bar. You're going to see several options. A lot of you don't have DocuSign quite yet, and that is coming. I know I sound like a broken record. But right now, what you're going to want to do is just apply the checklist for the sake of the compliance. We're going to apply the checklist. The only checklists that are going to pop up here are checklists that apply to the transaction, right? And if there's several, it might apply to that transaction. I don't know, might be, but for the most part, you're just going to verify it, right? You're going to see this one's buyer, purchase, single family. You're going to click apply. Give it a second. Now you go from just having one folder to having multiple folders to prepare for compliance. And if you want to collapse these so that way you can kind of get an overview about it, this is how it looks. You're going to have different folders. Your checklist might look different than mine. It might have 3 folders versus 2, but this is the gist of it all. You're going to have your required documents that are mentioned, and then it's going to tell you whether it's missing or not. The goal is to make those all missing into receive. I don't have any of the buyer documents for this case, but let's go ahead and start with the contract. So let's pretend we're going to go ahead. There's multiple ways of doing this. You can just drag and drop it to the actual document, or my more efficient way is just clicking here on the assign checklist and just mapping it to that. And once you click it, as you notice, it moves from that folder to here to receive. And the end goal is to have every single one of these completed so that we can submit it for compliance. All right, we have compensation, agreement between brokers, association. And then there's going to be stuff right here where I think this one is the, oh no, that is right there. Then right to terminate. Let's see if we have a temporary lease on this. We do. Temporary lease. And then unsure if you guys actually submit stuff, but obviously you're probably not going to submit the whole inspection report. But if it is part of the repair, right, in this case it was at the Exhibit A, you'd probably want to go ahead and submit that with compliance. But notice how, even though we do have the home inspection, sometimes you guys won't see this. And let's say we do need to add this, because this is the Exhibit A, it's not the actual inspection report, it's just the selected pages. You would move the folder because it's not in the checklist item, because I still need to submit this because there was agreed terms in here that was signed. You would move it over. right? And as you guys can see, I'm not going to go through the entire thing, right? I'm not going to bore you with that, but notice how I have so much stuff that's missing. I know we're still fresh in submitting compliance. Let's pretend it's truly not required. Let's just say this was an off-market deal. It was non-MLS. There's no way you're going to have an MLS property archive. That's fine. You understanding that, that's fine. When you're ready to truly submit and you're 100% sure you have everything on board, you click submit. Once we click submit, it's going to give you one more warning. Hey, dude, I think you're missing a few more of these things. Can you go ahead and upload them? Let's pretend these don't exist, but let's pretend none of these truly apply. And I mean truly. Go ahead and put in the sales price. Go ahead and put the commission amount and say, hi there, non-MLS deal, walk through, getting signed at closing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And once you guys are ready to do that, I'm not going to actually submit this because it's going to trigger something real. You click request compliance, and two things are going to happen afterwards. Number one, you're going to get a confirmation with all of the documents that you submitted so that you can triple check your work and say, all right, those are the documents that I submitted. Let me go ahead and make sure that I did submit everything I needed and we're good to go. Second thing, once compliance actually reviews your documents, they're either going to kick it back because you're missing documents and comment on it, or you're going to get an email, which what everybody wants is of your CDA being created and then being saved in the transaction. You'll be tagged in it, and once you open that email, it'll take you here, and it's just you go ahead and reviewing your CDA, making sure everything's correct, and going from there. Any questions in regards to that process? Did I go too fast? Hopefully not.
I have a few questions, and I know you spent a whole hour with me yesterday.
Girl, I'm sick of it. No, I'm just kidding. What's going on?
Well, there's more. When you try to create the checklist, can you confirm again where you match the status?
Right. Okay. So I'm gonna put this back into the inbox, just an example. So you guys can see, you can always just drag it and then it'll remove it. Let's say you accidentally linked it to the wrong one. You can always remove it.
You can drag it back up. That was
my you can always drag it back up.
Actually. Okay.
Yeah. I try to rip off and duplicate as much from .loop. You can drag and .loop. You can drag and drop here as well. So what you're saying is you wanted to make sure you wanted to just see again how we link it quickly, right?
No, when you create the checklist, remember you told me that the status has to match. So basically when I went in to add a checklist.
I'm glad, yes, you mentioned that. Yep.
So it's, go ahead.
So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that. So let's pretend I did not put the correct status on here, right? And I had this like coming soon. Mind you, the pending checklist, the checklist that we need for when something goes under contract will not show up because I did not put the correct status. So always make sure, and I'm glad you reminded me, Penelope, make sure you guys are always having the correct status at the stage that it's in. If it's in coming soon, it's coming soon, right? There's no need for you to look at the pending checklist if it's coming soon. So I'll show you what that looks like. Let's say we do add, and we're only going to apply the checklist. Notice how it's not, this has already been applied. Notice how there's no other checklist that you can apply because it's at that coming soon stage. I guess, were you still having trouble yesterday, Penelope?
I am, yes. So it needs to be pending and then you add the checklist, correct?
Correct. This needs to match, and this is a bad example because I already applied it, for this to pop up.
Yeah, I'm still stuck there. We'll talk after.
Okay, yeah, definitely. I mean, we can share, you can share your screen later on and I can guide you through it and whatnot.
Thank you.
So any other questions in regards to it? As you guys can see, when I need more space, I just full screen it so that way I can see it, because obviously I need to always double check those things.
I just want to comment that we are going to be working on that checklist, the templates, because right now, in some of the templates, what you guys are running across is required documents when it doesn't apply to your to your transaction. So example, an HOA addendum when the property is not in an HOA. So we're going to make sure that when the documents are optional, that they are optional and that you'll be able to apply that document with your required checklist, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and to comment on top of that too, just to let you guys know, once you start doing all this, like the whole transaction stuff, right? I'm only doing this for the sake of it being able to explain it visually, right? Let's go back to the whole, let's pretend we're submitting this document. The goal for me is, what if during our intake, since everything happens so quickly now, we can go ahead and get it over with and start assigning these documents to the checklist, so that way before we even attempt to submit for compliance, we already have the details that we know that doesn't apply, or that we know that might be missing. Like, oh crap, I realized I didn't upload the non-realty, right? So in that, and again, it's a work in progress, and it's gonna take some effort to streamline it. But I'm just giving that promise to show you guys, like, I get it. There's a lot of friction into there. There's a lot of uncertainty, but if I can consolidate it into one process and not even make you think about it, I think that would streamline the whole thing. So for the most part, does anybody else have any other questions? I'll kind of show you guys once this loads what I was trying to explain. This is, and once it freaking loads, this is why it's so crucial to make sure that the documents is actually properly labeled, because if you can properly label it in the beginning, the system can automatically tell you and assign it for you without you having to do it in the future.
James, is there a mapping field of some sort from, like, when I push a file from GHL, I send over all the contact details, maybe there's a mapping field for like rep agreement, right? So it'll just like automatically upload into the rep agreement document section.
No, specifically for GHA, there isn't any of that sort directly, right? Like, that's a complete build out, Joe. That's something that we'd probably have to discuss to see what I can do about that. Just because we would have to, like, the reason I say it's a build out is because, like, it's not as simple like the way we do leads, right? So now, like, when I was texting you back and forth, I was saying that would require us to be able to make sure we map it so the system knows this is a transaction, that it can map that particular document to whatever transaction for that field. Is it possible? Yes. Is it a build out? Yes, that's what I mean. It's not as simple as we get it done. Like, yeah, let's map it out and then tomorrow it'll be working. I wish it would be a build out. Okay.
Maybe another alternative, I think in, like, for documents in GHL, converts it to like a URL. Maybe we could just carry the URL link into like a, I don't know, like a note section in the mapping field, and the transaction rep can just download it or whatever inside OLS. Yeah, maybe we could do that.
I think it's a great idea. I think as long as we have enough people using GHL with OLS, I would probably speed up the development of it. But yeah, I for the time being, I think we can definitely look into it a little bit further. But yeah, I need a lot more people that uses GHL alongside with OLS for me to make sense to spend that time to build it out.
Roger Dodger.
Let's see. So guys, so while this is loading, right? For those that weren't here earlier, if you need a refresher, there's this little I button right there next to it to show you what you need to be doing. But this is straightforward now. It's upload the packet, add everybody involved, wait for the AI to do the tedious work for you, review it, and you're good. So that's always going to be there for you guys to reference. And as you can see, again, for those that weren't on the call earlier, when we do an intake, this is what it looks like now. You don't do this whole drop this, split it, none of that sort. I said, let's take that guesswork out of it and just say, pop it in there, add your people, and call it a day. As you can see, it now split all of the documents, and you're just verifying it. You're just verifying that it didn't add any additional stuff. That's the actual compensation agreement, and so on and so on. And then once we're done, it's a matter of us making sure we click all of this. It will not let you go through until you confirm that you did that you did review all of these documents. And you guys can still split it and merge it just like last time. So this is where I was talking about, guys. As long as this is correct, mapped, in the next couple of weeks, we don't even have to drag and drop them to the correct checklist, is what I was trying to get at. As long as these are mapped, majority of the work is done for you. It's just you adding anything else throughout the transaction. Maybe you got an amendment signed. Maybe you got a price adjustment and listing amendment and so on, right? Anybody have any questions in regards to this? Because this is somewhat new. And I ran this with, I know Penelope later this today will probably go over it with some help. But I ran this with Whitney a couple days ago as well. She was in a rush going to an appointment. She got it done in 3 minutes. So I mean, I get it. We're in a rush and whatnot, but guys, like, it's a few minutes of your time, so that way you can get on with your day. Questions, comments, concerns? Again, if you guys need to add anything right there, if you need the refresher, it tells you exactly what you need to do with that little I button. Okay. And that is it. Who's going to lead a book club today? X out of this real quick. Anybody read the book? If you, all right, let me make sure. Let me turn on the camera now. We were supposed to do chapter 4 and onwards, right? Oh, so which part are you? Let me turn on the camera. Come on. Let me pull up the book. Anybody else read the book? I'm pulling it up right now. Or go over it as far as the Audible goes.
Is Ozzy not in? I read
Ozzy
4
is
and
in.
5.
He's in
I
the
didn't know
office.
what we were supposed to read, so I read 4 and 5. I'm taking it slowly on this one.
Yeah, from my understanding, we did it 3 sections or 3 chapters at a time. So last week was the first section of the book, which was chapter 1 to 3, and then these next 3 one is the first law, making it obvious. You want to go ahead and start, Lori, then?
Chapter 4. What I took away, I'm looking at my notes. He talked about awareness, and then he brought in the scorecard, right? So when he talked about awareness, he said you cannot improve a habit you don't recognize. And so, we tend to run on, I like to call it like, we jump and run, right? Like we sometimes, and it goes back to like, it took me back to getting into the habit of time blocking, right? Like, because we all feel like, oh, I can do this. Oh yeah, I'll do this. Oh yeah, I'll do this. And I remember when I first joined the team, like, I didn't know what a time block was. And so I would find myself committing myself to shit when I had already been committed to something. And so when we run on autopilot, like, we can't create those valuable habits. So that he talked about that, and creating a list of our daily habits and going through those daily habits like lead gen, appointments, coaching, like whatever you have on your that you're creating your habits, is scoring them. Like sometimes we may think that our habits are good, and are they? So making sure that you are like scoring them. And I totally forgot about that until this is like the second time I've read this book, and I totally forgot about the scorecard. So like running through all of that and giving yourself the score. Did anybody else take anything away from chapter 4?
I'll comment on chapter 5, but chapter 4, you think you kind of did the details of it all?
Anybody else have any feedback?
For chapter 4? Chapter 4 is mainly about the scorecards.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Was that about the cats too? I think it is.
Was it?
It tells a story about the cat. So if you haven't, have y'all talked about the story about the cats and how they train them or whatever?
Oh, yeah, yes, I'm over the box.
Yeah, they put them in a box and they're basically like stuck in this enclosement, and they can't get out until they figure out like what it takes to get out of the box. And to get out of the box, it's actually like really simple triggers. It's not some huge robust thing. So they kind of figured out like how to study human beings and understand like rewards and things like that. So with animal, I mean, let's just say human beings. With us, a lot of times what we do is, you know, with a cat, you pull the trigger and let you out of the box. With a human, the crazy thing is whenever, like if you want to get in shape, working out, it's not do one thing and all of a sudden you're out of box and you get immediate gratification, right? It takes a whole lot of little things to finally get immediate gratification. So what we need to do as humans is we need to find a way to reward ourselves when we do the little things that build the habit, right? And I think that's something we don't really focus on. We are so results driven that if there's no results, we'll quit. Well, what do you need to do to help yourself with some immediate gratification? Well, and look, and there it is right there. There's a great little image right there. Cue, craving. This has to do with the cats in the box too. So cue, craving, response, and reward. So really, what sets off who you are and what you're doing? What happens when you do something, when you react to something and it creates something? And a lot of times what happens is the reward for the things that really work well for us in life that serve us is 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. So we don't repeat the habit because it doesn't reward us quick enough. So we as human beings, the cool thing about us is we have the opportunity to create a reward situation in anything we do. So think about it. You wake up early in the morning and you start making that a habit. I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. If you put no reward on that, you wake up at 6 a.m., you don't really see a change. That day, you're not going to see a change. You're not going to be like, oh shit, my life is better because I woke up at 6 a.m. Tomorrow, you do the same thing. It's still nothing. You're going to be like, it's a regular fucking day. So what if, instead of waiting for the habit to create, so it takes 66 days or 90 days, create the habit. A lot of people, they don't have really that fortitude to make it that long. So they give up. So what if you create a reward system for yourself to say, every day I'm going to give myself a reward system. So at the end of the day, if I woke up at 6 and I drank all my water, so those are my two things. At the end of the day, I'm going to reward myself. What does that look like? How do I get to celebrate? What is something I can do to feed me as a reward? Now, you don't want to create a reward that counteracts what you already did. So it's not like, I woke up at 6 a.m., so I'm gonna binge watch Netflix till 1 because that means tomorrow I'm not gonna wake up at 6. But if you create something that is also healthy as a reward, you can in turn create 2 habits. So I wake up at 6 a.m. At noon, for lunch, I get to pick a treat. But what if you chose a healthier treat? So you found something that actually rewarded you again. So you can build multiple habits all at the same time. But if you don't create a reward system, man, the waiting for the results is why people give up so often. So do you have, and this is the lead and lag measure, do you have a lead measure that works for you, which is the habit? And do you have a reward for you on that lead measure? Because if you wait for the lag measure, so, and if y'all haven't heard about this before, lead measure is, did I drink my water every single day? So I'm just going to drink water. I drink water every day. If at the end of the day, I drink my water, I celebrate, woo, let's go, I drink my water. The lag measure is in 2 months, I get on the scale and I've lost 2 pounds, 5 pounds, 10 pounds. The problem is the lag measure. If you're waiting for the result in the lag measure, you don't give yourself a reward for the 2 months, and you're not conditioning yourself to continue doing the right action every day. You're waiting on the result. So you need to create actions, which is the lead measure, and rewards around lead measure. So getting on the phones and making calls, you may make 100 phone calls a day and you don't get a single appointment. The appointment is a lag measure. And it's not cool to say, I didn't get a lag measure, so I don't get to celebrate me. That doesn't help you with your habit. If you get on the phone today and you make your 20 calls, at the end of the day, you met the action that you were supposed to do, you should celebrate that shit. You should actually say, hell yeah, I won today. And if you do that over and over for the next 30 days, and you continue to celebrate your activities, you will build a habit. Then eventually the lag measure will kick in. I challenge all of you to create a system based on lead measures, which is activities you can do on a daily basis, and what can I reward myself with on a daily and weekly basis to continue the activity that builds a good habit that will change my life. Whatever that is for you, you have to figure that out. What is the lead measure that's going to move the needle and change my habits in my life? And how do I reward myself without punishing to create the habit and keep the habit? So that's really the simple form of the chapter 4 for me was, man, we abuse ourselves because we don't get results. How many of you do that? I didn't get an appointment. I'm a fucking failure. I haven't had a closing in 3 months. I'm a fucking failure. Like, it's very easy, right? I haven't made the money, so I can't pay my bills. How do I celebrate me? This sucks. I'm not good. That's not true. If you are doing the habits every day and you're building the habit, you're building the skill, you should reward yourself, because although you haven't reached the top of the mountain, you've taken steps up the mountain. Slow down, look at your progress, reward yourself for what you've done, instead of abusing yourself for lack of results. Does that make sense? So that's really my chapter 4 summary.
That was leading on to chapter 5 too.
Yeah, that
It's
got
a mix of chapter 5.
yeah.
Okay, that's what I
Chapter
thought.
6 is a whole nother level of this conversation.
You want to go over chapter 6?
Yeah, go for it. Anybody want to talk about chapter 6 before I get all rowdy?
I would like to talk about.
Okay, go ahead. Go for it.
Yeah, about the environment. That's the problem. Hit me because I say, okay, Aussie is right. So this environment, people and everything is hitting us. So yeah, I'm so happy to listen to that. And also the power. The who has the power influence a lot to you, and then you get those habits from that person or the community that has the power. You get from them too. That's what I get from the past chapter.
I want y'all to think about environment, right? If you hang around a bunch of people that eat horribly every day and they don't work out, What do you think's gonna happen?
You're gaining weight.
Yeah, it's not gonna be good for your health, man. You're gonna end up having a heart attack or something. Like, it's not good. Imagine, even have you, I don't know if y'all have ever been this, but have you ever been like the chubbiest guy in the gym or the chubbiest guy in the workout group? But it's awesome that, you know, the cool thing in the right environment does matter. If you're around a bunch of people that are shaming you and treating you like shit, you're not gonna come back. But if you're around a bunch of people that are like, dude, I was once you, let's go. I'm here with you. I'm gonna pick you up. That environment matters. And the cool thing is, around those type of groups, those people that are healthy. So if you're in a workout group with people that are healthy and have healthy habits, a lot of times what you're going to find is they're also mentally healthy. They don't need to abuse you and treat you like shit to feel better about themselves. They started with one habit and created other habits. It's usually just, it's better all the way around. But if you're in a group of people that are getting healthy, and they see themselves as healthy people, and you're in that environment, you're going to start to see yourself as a healthy person too. So your environment absolutely matters. It's crazy. You ever, and I challenge you to study the habits of the people around you or the behaviors. If they encourage you to like do damaging stuff to yourself, like, you know, I'm not here to judge, but I'm just here to be real about it. If somebody says, oh my gosh, you had a rough day, you deserve a drink. We should go drink some alcohol because of this. And I get it, and some people are like, is that wrong with that? But yeah, it can be something wrong with that. If that becomes a habit where you cope by going to find alcohol, probably not a great idea. Probably something you need to think about. I know for me, like I'm an emotional leader. I'm like, I deserve this. I'm gonna go eat this double Whopper with cheese. Right? And you do it over and over again. And then people are like, yeah, you deserve that. Probably not the best environment. But if they're like, is that really gonna help you feel better? Like, maybe you should try to put something better into your body to help you with this. So your environment, the people around you, and although you may feel like, oh, they're comforting me, it can be a little dangerous.
Is that why they call it comfort food?
Comfort food,
That's
yeah,
what it-
100%. Yeah. What else? Anybody want to talk about this environment? Like, there's a lot when it talks about the general hospital, and the way that the environment and everything were set up. There's a lot in this chapter to break down about environments. You go to the grocery store, you buy healthy food, you put in your fridge. You basically put things that are not good for you convenient. We made it convenient. Look, I mean, look at what's happened in this country, right? There are more McDonald's restaurants than like any other restaurant. You want to hear the crazy thing is they put more McDonald's in the hood than they put them anywhere else. Because it's cheap and it's not good for you. They're like, oh, it's just feeding them with bullshit. And then the kids eat the bullshit, and then their brains don't function right. You send them to school and you expect them to get a great education. There's an absolute, this is creation of environment that contributes to human behavior. What environment are you in? I'll be honest, we convince my kids that McDonald's is poison. It's the environment. But it's also hard because of freaking 99% chicken sandwich, right? Shit, man. Lettuce is expensive. Like, healthy shit is expensive. So you've got to decide, you know, and that's a lead measure, lag measure thing too. You can spend more money on the healthy stuff, or you can spend more money at the doctor. You can spend more money on the healthy stuff, or you can spend more money having surgeries and taking medication for all this other shit. So what environment are you creating? Are you creating convenience around healthy habits? Or are you creating convenience around things that do not serve you? Well, I'm going to be quiet for a little bit because I swear I can talk about the habit shit forever. This is my favorite. I love this book. Lori, anybody? Does anybody experience
I
having
didn't book it till 6, so I'm listening.
have y'all ever switched a habit or done something where you're like, man, now that habit is a part of me. This is something I do. And it's good for me. And I used to never do this, but I enjoy it now. What is it? Tell me about it. Tell me about that habit. How did you put that habit in your life? How has it served you in the long term? What did you replace or get rid of to make that habit happen? Think about it for a minute. I want y'all to share it.
So when I worked here the first time, I remember you were talking about like us having conversations with our kids and stuff like that. And not just like, oh, how are you doing? How was your day? Like go further. And I made sure that I'd be like, hey, how is daycare? What did you do today? What was the best part of your day? What was the least best part of your day? You know, and so I just try to engage them and talk more about their day and what they did and stuff like that.
Perfect. The habit of questions, right? One little habit of asking a different question. So, and to elaborate on this, guys, this is something that I feel like can serve every family. Most of the time when we see our kids or we see our husband or our wife, whatever, after a long day, we're like, how was your day? And sometimes you'll get, okay, like little kind of piss off, like leave me alone type little answers, or I don't really want to think about that. But if you ask a better question, eventually you'll cause different habits in you and them. So better questions would be, what did you love about today? And what did you learn about today? So if you ask I challenge you right now, here's a habit you can create. Ask your kids and your loved ones every day for the next 2 to 3 months. What did you love about today and what did you learn about today? What'll end up happening is, number one, you've asked a question that doesn't deserve the same, okay, good, like a little bullshit ass response, right? You've asked a question that requires them to think a little bit. Well, what did I love about today? What did I learn about today? And if you ask that question every day for the next 2 or 3 months, your kids will actually go out and start to look for what they love and what they learn about. Imagine that if through the day while your kid was at school, they're like, Mom's going to ask me, what do I love today? So what do I love?
Yep.
And they start looking for things that they love. So they're going to find a better life. If you start asking them, what did you learn about today? They're going to come back to you with some answers, and it works. And the day I realized it worked is I forgot to ask the question, and Maddie was probably like 7 or 6 or something like that. She gets in the car, she's like, and we're driving, and she's like, Daddy, you're not going to ask me? And I'm like, oh shit, I forgot.
That's what Tanya said yesterday to me. She was just like, are you forgetting to ask us? And I was like, what? I knew what she was talking about, but I was just playing with her. I was like, what? She's like, you ask us questions every day about how our day was. I was like, I do? So I joke with her a little bit, but they remember and they get used to you and they want to reach out to you.
She created a habit that she didn't even realize she created. And then the kid reminded her about the habit that she created for her and her kid.
And affirmations too. If we don't do an affirmation, then we're like, Mom, we're going to do an affirmation today, right? And ever since I came back here, I chat GPT different kind of affirmations that we could use for like kids. And every day we do an affirmation.
Man, Snoop Dogg has an affirmation. Have y'all seen that one?
Yeah.
Does he?
No.
Snoop Dogg has a little affirmation thing. It's like an affirmation rap. The kids did. It's freaking awesome. But guys, and that's the thing is, with that day, Maddie, she got in the car and she got, you're not going to ask me? And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Go ahead. And she said, I learned about hippopotamus and they kill more human beings than what I was like, oh. Like they're the most deadly animals on earth. I was like, oh shit, all right. That's cool. But but these are little things. It wouldn't seem like a big deal. But it's enough to change someone's life when you program your kids through one simple question habit. It can change their life forever. Like you can literally embed a thought process and a behavior in someone's mind that can cause them, instead of looking for, have you ever been around a negative person that all they want to do is talk about bad shit? Yes. They got programmed. That was a programming. You will never have a good life. You will always have a bad life. There is always going to be drama. You're always going to have shit to complain about. Like the truth is, you have garbage in your life because you complain about everything. You're basically, in essence, telling the earth, I want to celebrate all the bullshit in my life because I talk about it so much. and you're inviting more bullshit in your life. That's a habit. You've been programmed for that bullshit. To reprogram yourself, it takes work. That's a habit. What are your habits?
And it makes a difference too, because I notice when we do positive affirmations, my tiny butt, she's the terror. So she,
So hold on, can I stop you for 2 seconds?
not in a bad way. I don't mean
I
it.
don't- But like, this, I want us to look at this, and this is straight up out of love. You know this,
Yeah.
right? So guys, when we do stuff like that, and terror, no matter how you spin it, it's not a positive word; it's a negative word, right? So what we do is we build this verbiage around our child, and whether they hear you or not, if they do hear you in passing, they're going to start to believe, "Oh, I'm a terror," and that's who they become. And if you program yourself to continue thinking about this kid as a terror,
Mhm.
that's who they're becoming in your mind. You're going to start creating that behavior, whether you like it or not. So I
Yeah.
challenge you to say she's fantastic. She's whimsical. She's creative. She's
Different.
wily,
One of a kind.
right? One of a kind.
Seriously.
Like
And when I
just
say-
change it just a little
I
bit.
will. I don't mean it the way she is because I love who she is, but no, she is the more challenged kid out of all three of them when they were young. But she's still amazing. She's still a good kid. But I noticed that the days that we don't do affirmations, she has more issues at daycare. She may have been a little bit more rude to kids, telling them I don't want to be your friend, or she does end up like pushing somebody or something. Like she does, I don't know, like just weird things that she comes up with. And the days that we have affirmations, and then I ask them about their day in the afternoon. She's like, I was good. This went on, that went on. She's telling me about all this good stuff that happened. And on the days that we forget to do the affirmation, which I would say like sometimes it's once a week, sometimes we do it every week, but I notice a change in her. She's so much more positive, and the outcome is better.
This is real, man. Like if you tell a kid they're bad,
Yeah.
you do it enough, they're gonna believe you. They're gonna become what you want them to be, right? And we'll end with this, guys. But it's from what I've seen, it's an old African tale to where there's tribes where when someone makes a mistake, instead of chastising, ridiculing, and outcasting them, they bring them to the center of the village and they say good things about them to help them rebuild their spirit and who they are. Because when you make a mistake or when you do something that's considered bad, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. But here's the problem with society is often when someone does something bad, we do label them as bad. But what do you think is going to happen? What do you think happens when you pick somebody up on like a misdemeanor drug charge, you upgrade it to a felony, and you put them in prison with a bunch of hardcore criminals? What do you think they're going to become?
A felon.
They're going to become a felon. They're going to become a real criminal. They're going to become someone who doesn't believe in themselves. Understand that.
Brooke.
Rehabilitation. Well, Brooke's got something to say. Go ahead, Brooke.
She had her hand up. No, I wasn't saying her. I was saying
Finish
had
what
her
you
hand
guys are saying, but I have something to add on to the
Yeah.
end, like one before we do affirmation, and all that good stuff.
Okay. Well, man, let's get up here. Let's start this affirmation.
I'm
She's
pulling
coming
up
in.
right now.
We'll wait for you, Brooke. Come on in. But guys,
Okay, I'm pulling in right now.
let's go. One thing I do, like with these type of things, guys. Yes, man, we do affirmations because how many of you have made a mistake and then you beat yourself up for days and weeks and months? Right? Like all the time, right? We're harshest fucking critics, man. And I will tell you, like, especially when I coach sports, like my behavior when I'm coaching sports is this. When a girl makes a mistake on the volleyball court, I tell the other players, it is not your job to get onto this just teammate of your sister. It is your job to lift her up. So if she makes a mistake, you're not like, no, you're like, go, you got it. Next play, let's go. And that's imagine what that's like, because we already know you've already kicked your own ass 1,000 times in your head. You're already upset with you. You know you messed up. You wish you would have done better. You don't need me to tell you you're a fuck up. Like, it ain't going to help you. But instead, if I say, hey, you know what? We're going to work through this. Let's keep on going. Forget about it. Move on. And it's so proven that works that they say championship tennis players and sports players, the difference they have between average and mediocre players or non-championship players is their ability to move on from a mistake, forget about it, and go to the next play. Instead of abusing yourself, getting down on yourself, and carrying it into the next play. It's just an affirmation in your mind that says, how quickly can I replace these negative thoughts about myself and move on? That could be the difference between loser and champion. Just one simple thought that you learn to control. That's a habit.